meeting next Thursday night, or are you taking
No.
Thanksgiving break?
No, we're
traditionally we don't meet on Thanksgiving.
no, and
Yes.
nor should we.
So-
Nor should we. It would be a travesty of a charade, and we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that.
So we'll be skipping one,
Mhm.
and we're still waiting for any feedback you may have as to your feelings regarding the COVID thing, because we have a restaurant
Regarding the COVID thing, you mean whether or not we should resume live in person?
So
Yeah.
Right.
whenever
Yeah,
anybody starts
yeah,
feeling
yeah, yeah, yeah.
confident, then we can like look again toward
Yes.
Patty's.
Toward doing that.
Because
Yes.
Patty's is waiting for us.
Yes.
I
With
don't
open.
think Patty's is going to go away. I err really on the side of caution.
I
Yes,
understand,
but
yes.
but again, I mean, just as the disco craze of the 70s had its share of fallen comrades, I think that every experience brings risk, and I think that we should go to Patty's even if 98% of us end up then no, I'm just screwing with you. No, it's fine. Yes, exactly. Yes.
Well, wait,
So
and then we'll
I
see.
just know, I've heard I know 50 people who've had this disease.
yes,
Really?
yes,
5 and 2 died. I'm
Oh
just
my
that's
not-
bad.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Including me.
yeah.
I
Yes.
might have been in that
Yes.
too bad. I'm just- I don't know.
Adam
Well,
had
I
that.
wasn't the one who died. I'm not,
No, thank God.
Just to be clear.
Thank God. But you were very worried. You were very,
Right.
very worried. I remember that. I remember
My
that.
brother and my brother-in-law are doctors, and my family is sect with scientists, and I just have to listen to them. And they're
Yes.
just saying, please err on the side of caution, even if you're feeling
Oh.
like you're a little bit anal.
I thought you were gonna say, and I have to listen to them ad nauseum.
No,
They're not doctors.
Good.
They're really not.
Good,
I'm
good.
pulling their shirt strings saying, what does this mean?
No,
well, I think,
absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
all the warnings are be careful during the holiday season.
Yes,
There may be a real
yes,
uptick.
yes.
Right.
Hang on one second. I'll turn on the
So-
other light.
Okay.
Okay.
So
and-
okay. So
and we're also up on
does,
Mr. Sci-Fi.
does anybody have to leave early?
Good question.
Oh, I do.
You
In
do?
a
Okay,
way. Not
good,
immediately,
okay.
but in a little bit.
Okay, so let's take you out of
Okay.
order because we lost somebody who did not tell us last time, and they just left.
Patty, are you orbiting at 30,000 feet?
Am I? Am I super spacey?
Yeah, yeah.
You're on an airplane. The captain airplane.
Oh, this is your captain speaking. I've never done this before. Anyway, should we do
Yes.
the thing?
Yes, I
Should
think you
report
should
from this
probably
friendly
do.
skies?
You should probably do the thing since you have a time limit, and then we will lose track of you.
Mhm.
Fabulous, great.
Okay.
Right.
Hey, howdy, y'all. I've been doing really well lately. I talked to someone recently who was from the table who knew from another friend of mine, and she reached out and she said, "Hey, it's some comedy stuff." So
Oh,
that's
cool.
pretty
great.
exciting.
Cool.
And I think it's worked out the day before Thanksgiving. I think I'm going to be on set for the first time in like 3 years.
Wow,
So-
that's
Well,
great.
yeah, almost 3 years. I mean, I did a set right before COVID, but as a PA and like a professional production, I'm really happy, and that's been very exciting. So I
Great.
guess my ask is that I obviously the email
Mhm.
blast I sent, still down for that if anyone's interested. Email blast is that I also act. So if someone has like a dumb little, this is like a sketch I'm filming, and it's not SAG because I'm super duper not SAG. Weekends I'm usually doing nothing. Obviously with the holidays and sure everyone's prepping for that. But yeah, I'm around, I'm chilling, and I'm having a good time. I'm glad I was able to make it.
Okay,
Okay, great.
great.
Do you have a reel or anything anyone can see in terms of your acting?
Yeah, I mean, I have some videos from high school if people want to see musical theater stuff. I do have recorded monologues and stuff from many years ago that are just like recorded. So in
Mhm.
terms of on screen stuff, a lot of it I was naked in a movie dancing, so that's not quite lines of dialogue. But if someone has like, hey, this is a script, can you read it for me? I've done that before and I have that. So I do have acting stuff, but
Okay.
most of it was on stage, so not a lot
So
of
yeah,
video
very
stuff.
different, very different. So if that urge gets a little bit higher, you can just aim a camera at yourself and do anything that you feel is really you. That would be your ideal kind of role, even if you write it yourself, but just something where they get a sense of how what your style is, how real you are or not, whether
Mhm.
you're a little more presentational, but just get a sense of what they'd be asking for, and you might get a surprise.
Yeah.
Okay, sick. I didn't really think of it like that. Thank you.
Sure,
Cool.
sure.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, yay! 3 cheers. Excellent. So, is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Let's find out.
Oh.
Yeah, we have more of a suggestion than a question.
All right.
From Mark Lungo.
Hello, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Who says, I think it might be fun if one of the Space Command characters is shown reading a Magic Time novel. What do you
Well,
think?
actually, that's a very funny comment, Mark, because in the first hour of the show, we go to Bob Picardo's quarters on the mining colony on Ceres, and we start with a pan of the books that he owns, including, you know, books by Ray Bradbury and so forth. And one of them is The Twilight Zone Companion. So, so that's a fun little Easter egg. So yeah. So
Time is in there too.
what?
I think Magic Time is in that
It-
shot as well.
It may be.
You did a Mr. Sci-Fi several years ago talking about those books, so people
Yes.
can find it on your channel.
Yes, exactly. Yes, just so. So great. Well, 3 cheers. So, Adam, you're at top of my screen. You want to give us your
I can,
yeah.
I can give the spiel.
do your man thing? Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I think most of you, pretty much everyone knows me, but I'm Adam Sartain. I'm an actor, a voice actor, and I work on Space Command. Yay.
Uh-huh.
So right now, haven't been doing much as far as acting wise, except of course for if you count my Santa Claus business,
Yay.
Great.
which is I call it Santa Sessions, and there's a page on my website that details that, where if you have children, or believing age children, or know a family who does have children that would benefit from a virtual visit with Santa. Again, these are virtual visits. I did have someone contact me who thought it was an in-person visit. And I was like, no, it says on Zoom. It literally says Zoom on the page.
Yes.
Yeah, so I offer very reasonable rates. It looks like you're talking with Santa Claus at the North Pole.
Have fun.
It's very fun, and I've had nothing but rave reviews from everyone.
Great.
If you send me if you have a photo of yourself in Santa costume with the background of the North Pole and a link to how they can contact you to hire you, if you send it to me, I can put it on my social media.
Okay.
Okay.
I did send it to. I wasn't sure about which list, so I sent it to the Life list. But
Yes.
I'll send it directly to you.
Yeah. So that's
To
great.
share it.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's good. And something I forgot to mention, I was in a social media video the other day that came out on YouTube and Instagram and all the other ones. There's a sketch, I guess kind of sketch group called the Smile Squad, where they did a parody of the Squid Game. And if Squid Game were in America. So I was in that video. It was very fun.
It's great.
And I got a nice little Instagram bump from it. Like 15 new followers. Not much, but it was something.
That's great. How's your back?
My back is better. I have had my final chiropractor appointment. And the MRI found what it was is I have a bulging disc in my L5.
Yeah.
It's only a 3 millimeter bulge.
Yes.
Which is like 1 millimeter more than a typical wear and tear, as they told me.
Right.
But it's something. So now I know what it is.
Oh
Yes.
dear. Okay.
But if you go up to a girl in a singles bar and you say, "Hey, I've got a bulging disc in my L5," you're gonna get slapped probably. So I'd be a little careful with that
I
one.
don't
Yeah.
really talk much in public about it.
No. So is there anything else you need, Adam?
Not right now. I mean, yeah, I'm
Cool.
just available for table reads.
Yay.
I always have fun with those.
Okay.
And acting and voice acting. Actually, yeah, if you know voice acting, voiceover agents, I could use a voiceover agent.
Okay, great.
Well, that would be
Yeah.
a very good table question, because we had
Yes.
a lot of people who were supplementing their income at the table. That's suggestions, but a lot of our people were making do with voiceover.
Yeah, because I had this company called Vocad or IM
Mhm.
that was and they sent me on a ton of sent me a ton of auditions, and I submitted all of them, but I didn't book a single one.
Oh,
so
shoot. Okay.
I'm not so sure about them. Yeah.
Okay.
But like a legit voiceover agent, I would definitely love to show them my stuff.
Cool.
Great.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
3 cheers, Adam. Yay. So, sci-fi question, Adam.
Let's see. Oh, okay. It's a Rose Kirby question.
Hello, Rose.
She wants to know if you can say if the Blu-ray DVD of Space Command will be shipped on the 2nd. Let me see if I can read this right. 9th or 16th of December, as I might not be home over Christmas.
We're not going to be shipping the DVD. Decided that what we're going to do is we're going to complete the downloadable version of the first 2 hours and then send that out around Christmas shortly thereafter. We're on the home stretch of that. But in terms of the DVDs and Blu-rays, I think we'll want to be doing some, just like with the first hour, we did some tweaking and some fine tuning of certain things. I think we want to do that with the second hour, but it's now at a point where when we send it as a download, it will be filled with amazing and wonderful things. But we didn't want to send out the Blu-ray or the DVDs until we were sure that it was like, that we had tightened all the screws. So that will be, a few months down the road. But the downloadable, which, you can obviously access anywhere you are that you can get online, that's going to be sooner rather than later. So we'll let you guys know as soon as we know. Part of the delay right now is simply that as we watch it, we say, okay, we can tweak this now. We can do things to really make it strong. And so that's what we've been doing. And that causes some delays, not great delays, but a matter of a few days or a couple weeks. So yeah, but thanks for the question. So now next on my screen is Bonnie. If you want to jump in, Bonnie.
Okay. Let's see, working on some different songs and a couple of musicals, but as I shared last week that it was likely, so I have definitely been appointed the interim vice president at the Musicians Union.
Wow.
So
Yay.
I will take office on November 29th.
Wow.
And then, so that's a full-time job, but as I mentioned, there's a
Yes.
current president and secretary treasurer are brilliant, happen to be women, so this is like, all of a
Great.
sudden we have all women officers, but partially because of who.
Question.
Uh-huh.
Is this the a chapter of the union, of the local chapter, or is this
This is
like
the local chapter, this is the OA Local 47.
Mm.
But
Okay.
for many years, I've also been a delegate to the National Convention, which I still will be as vice president. Yeah, so it's a full-time job, but pays very well, and I'll give it a try. I wasn't sure whether to do it because it a little bit crimped my composing there, maybe, but everybody, including my composer's agent, everybody said you've done so much and so involved with the union that to go for it. Past president said, yeah, everybody. People I asked, so I'm gonna go for it. So starting November 29th, I'll be kind of busy. But then I do have to be voted in for the remainder of the term in January. So anybody's a local 47 member, I don't know if anybody is on this call. Yeah, I did. So anyway, that's big news.
Great.
Congratulations. Yay.
Congratulations. It's it'll be fun over the course of weeks and months and years to see you go completely mad with power. So I can't wait. So
I'll keep level-headed, especially for this group.
yes. Just make sure that
Nicholas,
Yeah, just make sure they properly gild your throne. That's the
Yeah.
main thing.
Okay.
You know, so it's going to be good. It's going to be good. So anything else, Bonnie? Anything you need?
No, I guess that's pretty much all I can think of for now. But everybody, happy Thanksgiving, all.
Yay!
Yay.
3 cheers, Bonnie. So is there another Mr. Is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes.
Please.
Yes. Our next question is from Hayes494.
Great. Hi.
Who says, please accept my sympathy for your brother.
Thank you.
And have you seen Star Trek Prodigy yet?
Not yet. You know, I'm there's a bunch of shows I'm behind on. I haven't seen some of the Star Trek series. I haven't seen the second or third seasons of Lost in Space, but a bunch of stuff. But I am, you know, I have been watching Foundation and another show called Y, which is about the last man who survives a plague that wipes out all the men. Yeah, so we'll get to all this stuff eventually. But right now, there's a lot of stuff going on here at Zicree HQ, so we'll be talking about that later tonight. So cool. So so Carol, I think you're next on my screen.
Thank you, and I ditto the sympathy for your brother. I'm so sorry.
Thank
I
you.
said something earlier.
Thanks.
Excuse me.
Thanks.
And thank you again for being here. It's one of the few places I can relax all week.
Yes.
And I always talk about how I will not do auditions during the pandemic. I will for you guys.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks.
Bonnie, congratulations. It's awesome. I think that's fantastic. This is great. Also, Adam, you may want to see if Tisherman Agency is still as robust as they were. I think they were in Burbank. Okay. I forgot. Just Tisherman Agency. You should, if they're still around, then that should be findable. So good luck there. I have some questions.
Of course.
Because I'm an actress, I don't know this stuff. What's the difference between an option versus a sellout on a script?
Well, basically, it's an option is they rent it for a certain amount of time to see if they can sell it. If they buy it, then they own it. It's sort of like they can drive their car anywhere, they can do anything they want, unless you specify it in contract. They just own it. So, for instance, oh God, what novel was it? There was some very famous novel, and a VFX guy bought the rights to it. Oh, yes, Forever War, the Joe Haldeman book. A VFX guy bought it outright and to adapt into a film, and because he never could get it made, it never got made. And a lot of other people wanted to make it, but that guy owned it. So Joe Haldeman regretted having sold it to him. Now, finally, I think it is going to move forward, but it took decades because of that.
Now, with an option, there are no, well, there's a minimum amount, $10 that they can option it for, but there's no like hard and fast rule. You can have exclusive options or non-exclusive options. You can limit the amount of time. You can say who are the people that you they really are tight with, rather than just doing a general shopping thing. And you say, okay, you can option it to take it to Paramount. That's where you have your contacts, and then it reverts back to me. Well, but like how much money they give you, they should give you more. The more control they have over that option, the longer the period, the wider they can spread it. But how long? How much beyond having a minimum of $10, you can really negotiate that.
Well, that's where good agents and lawyers come in, though.
That's right.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, that's
When
right. You have a good
is me. That's really helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
What's the difference between a lookbook?
A lookbook is primarily what a director shows his vision of the film, what it'll look like. Okay, the tone, the mood, what the visuals primarily will be. A pitch deck, primarily what a writer producer would present, or a team to show what the content is. So who the main characters are, what, when, and where it takes place. There's sort of like a bit of an aesthetic overlap, but like if you think about it, like let's say any movie like 2001, let's say 2001: A Space Odyssey, a director's lookbook would show what the sets are going to look like, what the visual effects are going to look like. A pitch deck would tell what the story is and who the characters are and what happens. Okay.
Oh, it's really helpful.
Yeah, sure.
How long ideally should a synopsis be, and how long ideally should a treatment be?
A synopsis should be no longer than 1,000 pages,
Oh, God,
and
no.
a synopsis should
No
be,
problem.
I would say, anywhere from like a short paragraph to a full page, depending on how detailed you want to be. Just remembering that people hate to read.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And a treatment could be.
A treatment. I tend to like short documents myself, but Jim Cameron writes treatments that are like 90 pages. He calls them scriptments, and they have like all the dialogue, all the scenes, all the everything, and then he just changes the margins and bang, he's got his script. But I wouldn't recommend doing that. I think, the question with anything is what would induce someone to read this, whatever this is. And I mean, for myself, just for my own treatments and outlines, when I'm working up a storyline, I like them short, 5 to 7 pages. But that's just me. And and also when you're outlining, it depends on who you're outlining for, what the purpose is. It's again,
The main thing is people understand the core thrust of the story and they don't get lost in detail. As an example, because I tend to write script ensemble cast, I don't go into all of those people. I'll say it's an ensemble piece, primarily following this hero who represents what everybody's going through. And so you just don't want them, you want them to be raced through the emotional thrust and dramatic thrust of your piece, and then it stops. You don't want them lost in detail.
You just gave me so much.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you one untoward thing that happened to me at AFM, or do you not want to hear this?
No, you can tell us.
I'll tell you real briefly. Producer called me a couple days ago from AFM.
Mm-hmm.
Lives in Orange County.
Mm-hmm.
And she said to me, "How was your week at AFM?" And I said, "Oh, I loved it. There was classes and seminars, and I met a lot of people, and I just loved it." And she said, "I had no idea I meet so many Jewish people."
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I didn't tell her that I was of that persuasion. And all I said to her was, well, in the Old Testament, what's most important to Jewish people is to read the Old Testament, get educated, and give charity. So I really like those tenets. So maybe the Jewish people, if you scratch the surface, weren't that bad.
Well, another way you could have done it was when she said, "Oh, I met so many Jews," you should have said, "Yes, the ones that survived."
Whoa!
That would kind of.
I just had to share that.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to be mean, but
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah. It's. I mean, again, what this points to is that all of us have to be careful what we say in all circumstances, and that's not to be politically correct, so forth. It's not like an outside stricture. It's a matter of compassion and consideration of people's differences. And so I think we have to all be mindful of how we language things. And because it's so easy to inadvertently say something hurtful without intending to give, hurt. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that everyone who's part of any group, be it Black, Asian, Jewish, any number of things, can have had those experiences where it's like, okay, I could really, make this into an argument, but I'll just kind of like let that one go on by, but yeah.
Let her go on by.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, the thing I always say to myself when someone says something offensive, what I say to myself is, well, at least I don't have to live with them. Except for my family members. It was very funny when Michelle DaCosta, who's our our development exec, and liberal, and she's Black and she's British. And one year she was here, and I took her to my family Christmas. And my brothers, of course, grew up in Orange County while I grew up in LA. So, like, one of my brothers, she was going to start getting into a political discussion with him because that's what she likes to do with all of her friends in England. And I said, do not engage him in political discussion. You will not like what comes out the other side. It's like, nope. As long as you stay on everything but politics, you'll be fine. But do not discuss politics.
Yeah,
And
I'm trying to remember specifically who it was, but it was during World War II, and it was an American soldier,
Yes.
officer, and he was with an upper, he'd been invited as an officer to this upper crust British dinner, and the hostess was during the dinner was saying a lot of quite negative things about Jews and how they were helping to make the war worse and blah blah blah. And so at the end of the dinner, he rose and he said, "Oh, I just have one question. It was a lovely dinner. One question. What is it you have against the Jews?" And she said, "Well, nothing." And he put his hand behind her china cabinet and pushed it over, and everything fell out crashing to the ground. And he said, "Well, now you do."
It's good. That's good. That's good.
It sure was better that or the ones who survived.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's
That's my only anti-Semitic
Yeah.
encounter this week.
I have, yeah, this week. Yeah, exactly. So cool. So great. So, but one thing I should say, just in terms of Judaism in general, when I did the Twilight Zone commentaries, a lot of people didn't know that Rod Serling was Jewish, and of course I'm Jewish and Elaine's Jewish, and I invited Neil Gaiman to do a commentary on a great Twilight Zone episode about the Holocaust called Death's Head Revisited. Because Neil is Jewish, and a lot of people don't know that Neil Gaiman is Jewish. So we basically were able to talk about Rod and ourselves as how we deal with the Jewish experience and the Holocaust and all of that. It was really fun. It was super fun to do that commentary with him. Really, really great.
That's so neat.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah.
It was just shocking. It was just shocking on so many levels that
Oh,
she could be
yes.
so
Yes.
oblivious to the world.
Yeah. Well, you know. So, yeah. Well, anything else, Carol?
Oh, I think that'll do it.
Okay. Yay, Carol, ladies and gentlemen. So, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, there is. Our next question is from Fit to be Read,
Hello.
who asks, when you put together an episode of Space Command,
Yes.
do you ever picture a new character as a specific actor
Yes.
that you'd never expect would be in the show, and then obviously go a different way casting?
Usually I write roles for specific actors. So in other words, the role I wrote for Mira Furlan was for her specific, and for Bob Picardo and for Doug Jones, so forth. When I have an open casting thing like Bradbury, then I'm open-minded, surprised, even to the degree that when for the male role of Captain Kemmer, I created the role of Captain Essex for her because I really admired her audacity in auditioning for that role, and liked what she brought to it. In terms of having sometimes to go with a different actor in mind, yes. In some cases, I will write a role for a specific actor, and for one reason or another, they won't be available and then I'll retool it for someone else. And also sometimes with Mira Furlan, we're not recasting her role in Space Command, but I did write a role for her in Sweet Haven, the show we're creating with Rockney O'Bannon. And because we hadn't yet shot any of that, I reached out to who's playing that role now? Marta Kristen of Lost in Space, and she's terrific, playing Bob Picardo's wife. And but that was, again, just you rewrite it to fit the other person. So, okay, cool. So let's see who's next. I guess Cherie, you're next. Go for it.
Hello. Cherie, writer director. I'm currently working on 2 projects. I'm writing a feature horror, and I'm also in pre-production for a lighting project, my final lighting project for my class. And having a little trouble finding actors up here in the Bay Area. I was wondering if there is a chapter, a table chapter up here
in the Bay Area.
California.
We never started one in the Bay Area. It's not a bad idea. We just haven't done it. We have chapters in New York and Arizona, New Mexico, and so forth. The challenge always is to have someone run it who will be consistent and also who has expertise enough to run it where they're not going to be saying all sorts of things that are just going to run people off cliffs, So, so we don't have one specifically in the Bay Area at the moment, no.
Okay. All right. And then Adam, after the holidays, I have at least 1 script and maybe 2 for table reads. So
cool.
we can do
Good.
that again.
Okay,
That would be
yeah.
awesome.
Great.
So that's it.
Okay, cool. Yay. 3 cheers.
And congratulations on your productivity.
Yes.
Oh, thanks.
So is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, our next question comes to us from the Intergalactic Bakery,
Great.
who asks, can you recommend psychedelic space travel scenes a la 2001's slit scan sequence?
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Are there any more movies out there that have sequences like that?
I'm trying to think. Well, Altered States. Altered States would be another great one for trippy weirdness. And then Logan's Run doesn't have exactly psychedelic sequences, but just it's so 1970s pastel. Its design aesthetic just is, cooler than cool. There's
The Trip.
Yes. Well, yeah, if you're going to specifically drug-oriented movies, yeah, there's stuff like that.
Tron.
What Tron?
Yes.
Yeah,
Tron's
yeah.
good, yeah.
Again, yeah, but 2001, the interesting thing about 2001 was they had the Stargate sequence, and initially they were advertising the technological aspects of the film, and it wasn't doing well financially. And then certain people started going to some of the younger people started going to the film on drugs so they could experience the Stargate sequence, in an enhanced state. And so that was starting to bring the box office up. So then they switched the ad campaign to the ad line, "The Ultimate Trip," and had it a solarized eye on the poster. And so they were specifically appealing to the counterculture to come see the film. And 2001 ended up being the highest grossing film of that year, 1968. So that's pretty interesting in its odd way. But yeah, the whole issue of science fiction and drugs. There was a period in the mid to late 60s when a lot of the science fiction conventions, the fans and the authors were taking drugs and so forth, LSD, etc. I wasn't part of that, thank God, but a number of the sort of writers who were sort of one generation older than me were. And and Philip K. Dick, of course, was the great drugged out, visionary, and A Scanner Darkly is a phenomenal piece of work, and he viewed himself as someone who had been brain damaged by drugs, and so he was pretty harsh in his own evaluation of what drugs had done to him. He was not really pro drug in that at all. And it's interesting to study all that stuff. So let's see. So David Barley, you're next on my screen. If you'd like to take the helm and do your vocal stylings.
Stopped when I thought I was muted. Sorry about that.
Nope.
So, how are you? My name is David Barlett. Let me see, what am I? I am a filmmaker, a teacher, and a human rights activist, and a producer of Space Command.
Yay.
Great.
We are winding up a colossal Herculean task of visual effects on episode 102. And we are having something to be sent on a digital download to certain select Kickstarter people on Christmas. And the DVD Blu-rays are after that. As he said, we are, I had the honor of sitting with Elaine to spot some shots in a sequence that's going to end up being the climax of the whole episode. And it's going to be very cool when we get it done.
Cool.
So we're looking forward to that. And let's see. I didn't really talk much about myself yet. I started out my career at 10 years old with my first film. I worked in films and theater as much as possible through high school, movie theaters, projectionist and management. After that, through my 3 months of college, I went to university, which was a business university for the record. When was that? 1978. So the film school concept it was pretty much USC, UCLA, New York, and maybe Columbia, if I was a postgraduate school. So we had 4 film classes at Portland State University. So I had 2 of them, 2 junior, senior classes. I took them all and thought I was blowing through them and flunked them all. And this really wasn't for me. So I continued to work in movie theaters, and that turned out to be a very good film school to a point. And I moved to LA in 1980 and started working with the great Gary Shusett, who ran the Sherwood Oaks Film College. And I started to fix it. He had a projector that was donated to the school. So I helped him install it. And that was my film school. And working on films, I found out that there were students at all these universities that wanted to be directors, but none of them really wanted to promote themselves as producers. So I ended up doing these associate producers and producing jobs on all these short films. So I made films at AFI and USC and UCLA and Northridge and Syracuse, and I lectured at Loyola. And all of a sudden I was attending film schools I wasn't paying for, being exposed to the students there that were cool, and ended up working with them later on. And that was a great experience as well. Anyway, so I started working in studios and big budget movies like Pulp Fiction and Speed and Total Recall, doing sound design. And then films of my own and with other people, friends and whatnot. Now I have 65 film festival awards. So if you have questions about either of those environments, I can probably help you out. There are definitely festivals to avoid and festivals to go ahead and pay the money, but it's unlikely. I'm not going to throw water on anybody's dreams, but there are certain festivals that are there. You might as well just throw your money in a lobby of a casino in Vegas, and if $1 hit the right spot accidentally, you would get in. So there are those, but people get in them every year. So I can help all of that. Space Command. We have things going on at Space Command. Cleaning up some areas and organizing the wardrobe and the set pieces that are about to be incorporated into sets that we're shooting in the spring. And we are always prepping something to be done in there. So that's happening now. If you want to volunteer, you're welcome to. If you want to get a paid position, we have a small paid positions once in a while, especially if you're a carpenter. I'm still looking for a good carpenter. But I also have people building sets with the difference between when you design sets, you have to have them drafted, and then you have to have them divided into two categories. One is the Department of Construction, the other is the Department of Decoration. So the set decoration people have a very specific skill sets, very different from carpentry, and they come and decorate. And with a science fiction set, you can use your imagination to go wild with that. When I worked at the New World Pictures, I was working with a James Cameron, who's a production designer, and they recently showed a clip. I don't know, were you watching that with me, Mark, where they were talking about the set design of Galaxy of Terror?
Nope.
It just came up out of nowhere. I was a film I worked on, and someone must have worked on it because they knew, and they had shots of the Galaxy of Terror corridor before it was painted, and they had taken McDonald's styrofoam fast food containers and opened them up like this, and glued them to the wall in rows, row after row, hundreds of them, and they just painted them and decorated them with little bits of electronic equipment, broken up computers and stuff into small pieces, and glued them in places, and voila, science fiction spaceship corridor.
Cool.
So we're doing stuff like that. Now, let's see, table email. So if you are in the table email and are having difficulties for whatever reason, or you want to join the table email, you can talk to me. So what you have to do is you have to get an email that has your first and last name in it. It can't be nicknames, but it can be numbers and symbols. So, say Adam Sartain 257 happy face is fine. It has to be not at Yahoo. It can be at Gmail, whatever, but Yahoo doesn't work. For some reason, our system doesn't like Yahoo. And send it to me and I'll get you hooked up.
Cool.
I already know how to get on the Zoom because here you are. But if the table email is part of that, then that's how you finish that. I will put my email in the chat. I'll also say it right now for those who are Mr. Sci-Fi. You're also, until we start going back to the live table events, you guys are also welcome to join right now. So that's a special offer too. So my email is davefilms, DAVEFILMS @hotmail.com. And that's it.
Okay. Yay. 3 cheers. So another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam.
Yes. Our next question is, there we go. Another question from Hayes494.
Cool.
Who wants to know, if J. Michael Straczynski asked you or Elaine, would you consider working on the Babylon 5 reboot?
No. Yeah, that's my complete and total answer. I don't know. Do you want to have an answer?
No, I don't think the chemistry would be right.
Yeah, let's be, and then we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, but thank you. And also, one thing I should mention to the Mr. Sci-Fi fans is this is an angle that I normally don't show, but I recently set up a mannequin with a costume that was used in the 1950s TV show Space Patrol, including a hat and it was used both on the show and on tour when they would tour with the Ralston rocket. And then beyond that, of course, is the spacesuit that my mom gave me when I was 12. It's a real one, and so forth. So there you go, another angle. So let's see, Dave Edison, you're next.
Yay,
Go for it,
Dave.
Dave.
Hey, how's the
Yay.
audio today?
You're
Good,
great.
great.
You sound like
This
you,
is-
Good,
yeah,
good.
that's great.
It's in Dolby and stereo,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in color. So so here I am looking off screen, working on some VFX that Mr. Bartlett just mentioned that have been delivered
Neat.
for a cool sequence in Space Command where where I think I may have heard this before, but racing to get this thing done ASAP, if not sooner. And
Great.
Working on a couple little projects that had been kind of put on hold. Both, of course, come back at the same time, so I'll give them a little bit of time over the weekend if I have any.
Mm-hmm. And
what else is going
oh,
on, Mark?
and
Anything else that we're working on?
and Dave, I'd like to see the new shots that you put in. I just send me that section.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. There are enough changes throughout that I guess I should just send you a new version of the second episode.
Okay, great. If it can be UHD, that would be useful. Okay, just to let you know.
That's right.
Oh, we'll talk later.
Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead, please. Anything else you need?
Well, as has happened all too often in the past couple of years, a friend died today,
Mhm.
God.
and boy, that the longer you're on the journey, there are people who drop off the train, and you just have to
Yes.
stay on the ride as long as you can. So
Yes.
hope to be around for a while, friends. And
Yeah.
I hope you are too. I hope you have a good Thanksgiving, and we won't be here next week, so we'll see you again in 2 weeks. And there's
Yes.
probably some other stuff going on, but it's generally all Space Command all the time. So
Yeah. And
so if I'm looking off screen, that's what I'm working on, folks. So
yeah.
be well, you folks over at Mr. Siffy. Be well too, and talk to you next time.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Okay, hang on. Is there? Let me see if I can turn this off. Sorry about that. Let's
Is that a
see.
train whistle?
No, it's a communicator. Hi. Hello.
Oh.
It's Mark Zicree. Oh, no?
Mark?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, hey, you sounded just like your voicemail. It's
Yeah.
Scott Cooper. How are you?
Hi, Scott. I'm in the middle of running my roundtable. Can we talk a little later, perhaps, or tomorrow?
Tomorrow, give me a call whenever you have
Great.
a free moment.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Oh,
So there you go. There you go. Perfect science fiction moment, eh?
There we
So
go.
that was one of our investors on Space Command, and so just to let you know, we're very, very grateful to our supporters. So let me get the Mr. Sci-Fi back
Oh, it
on
went off.
screen here. Yeah, it's just I'm there. We go. We got it.
Bye.
So Dave, I'm sorry. Was there anything else did we finish with you? I don't recall.
Yep.
Okay, and did
We're on the
Mr. Sci-Fi go for it?
yes. Our next question, I believe, is from Merlin Midden. I guess.
Great.
Midden.
Yes.
Anyway, Merlin wants to know what you think about Axanar. Says he really likes it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen any of the recent stuff they've done. I liked the prelude to Axanar, but I know Alec Peters, and I've been following that whole crazy journey that he's been on over all these years, and I'm just glad that I didn't have Paramount try to stomp me when I did World Enough in Time for Star Trek New Voyages. They me to write and direct more episodes, and I declined because I knew inevitably Paramount was going to shut down all the Star Trek fan films. It was just a matter of when. And I created Space Command because the idea was I own Space Command, so nobody can stop me. There's no studio that's going to send me a cease and desist. And owning my own IP, my own creations, because very, very popular universes, from the DC characters to the Marvel characters to the Star Trek characters to the Babylon 5 characters to the Sliders characters to the Beauty and the Beast characters, on and writing other people's characters. But I really like having my own little kingdom now, and would not ever trade So let's see. So Nick, you're next. Nick, take it.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
I'm trying out a new mic here. Nice to be here again, Mark and Mike Collins, your brother. I saw your email, so
thank you.
And thank you for that tribute that you shared with us. That was lovely.
Yeah, thanks.
Good to see everyone again. I've been a little busy working on a few documentaries. One is about a trans politician named Frankie Gonzalez Wolf. It's a new director I'm working with, so we're trying to, we're finding our balance, and it's always a fun adventure when that happens. But he's great, and he has some great ideas. And the movie's called A Run for More. I know we're still in the house, so it'll be a while before that's done. And then working on another one called The American Question. That one starts in December. We're still editing it, but I've been sending music over, and it's about value systems in the U.S. And abroad. And also kind of touches upon like the 2016 election, which connects it to to what happened in 2021. So it's interesting how we're approaching that. And another piece of good news is table member Dave Rosenberg. I don't know if you've seen his emails, but his movie, The Reunion, got acquired by Gravitas Ventures. So
that's great.
We have distribution.
Cool.
And that'll be out February 2022, which is great. Also my soundtrack, the score album, will be out around that time too. So
great.
I'll share that with everyone. It's a kind of a bullying and surrealism, and I got to use some really avant-garde kind of music for some scenes. And,
and it's really an important theme to really be talking about, because I must say that I hate surrealism. So, no, that's my joke. I was saying I hate bullies. No, but yeah, no, that sounds like a great project, Nick. That's really neat. Is there anything you need?
I do need. I was actually contemplating reaching out to a few agents, because I've been getting all this work by myself.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
I think I'm going on 10 years now. I think.
Yes.
Do you think it's a bad idea to reach out?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Just make sure that the ones you reach out to actually are getting work for their clients. Because otherwise it's just a waste of time and emotional effort. It's just. But if they actually do land jobs, if they're plugged in, yes, that can be terrific. That can be enormously helpful. Yes.
But asking friends for recommends, where they might recommend you to people, and then again, check the rep's record to see who they rep, and if they seem to be connected to different shows, and if they feel like a match. And then especially if somebody says, hey, this is a really good guy, you should talk to him, they can be helpful, but you just have to do a lot of shopping.
Right. I mean, I connected with one was recommended to me, and she was great. The only thing she says is like, are you making any money? And I was like, yeah, it's here and there. And then they're like, well, call me when you have bigger, obviously because they want their commission.
Right.
Right. So that's why it made me think, okay, maybe I should wait until they reach out to me when,
well,
hey, we'll be on Netflix or something. And then.
Yeah. I mean, again, there's no right or wrong. I mean, the thing is, a good agent or a good manager recognizes potential, but most of them are lazy and unimaginative, and they just want a sure thing. It's like a cash crop. But then you have to ask yourself, well, am I giving 10% or whatever percentage to my reps, and they're not doing any other work? And so that's, I mean, it was amazing when I got the head of motion pictures at CAA as my agent. You would think that would be like huge and great, but no. He was 1 foot out the door. He was over. He had no more fire in the belly. And he, when Will Smith's company wanted to buy one of my screenplays, he blew the deal. And it's like, so there's no, what you really want is someone who's on your wavelength, who understands what you're trying to accomplish, who values you artistically, and who helps you earn more money. And so one can be extremely pragmatic in that regard.
But there are definitely people out there who just sort of ride you like a tick. Whatever you're doing, fine, I'll suck up some of the whatever.
Well, I mean, they're not even as good as ticks, because ticks at least get blood, out of you. Many of these agents and managers succeed in doing nothing, so.
What about, do you suggest maybe talking to junior agents or someone start like at my level, and then we grow.
What I
together,
would
kind of
what I would suggest you do is, if you have friends who are successful composers, find out how they work with their reps and how they got their reps. You know, or you could even start a podcast where you interview the people who represent composers, and that would give you a foot in the door. You know, and so that wouldn't be a bad idea. You know, because again, you know, we finally, when it's our turn, we'll talk about, you know, we finally got methodical about pursuing agents and managers, and I've avoided doing it for a long time just because I knew what it would take. But we can talk about that, and you know, we'll talk about it. Anything else, Nick, for now?
No, that's it. Just happy to be here, and then wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving. I'll stick around till the end, obviously.
Great. Okay, yay, Nick Repetto, ladies and gentlemen. So, Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes. Our next question is a Scott Baker question.
Hi, Scott.
The question is, as Star Wars and now Trek franchises have done, will you use your kid-friendly writing skills to adapt Space Command or some version of it for younger viewers, say in 15-minute ADHD format?
I had an idea of doing that with Magic Time some while ago. I'm not planning that specifically with Space Command, because Space Command is family friendly. It's interesting that I've been looking at the premiere of season 4 of Star Trek Discovery, and they're saying, oh well, you know, he's got shit for brains and it's a shitty idea and we're really up shit creek, and it's like, guys, come on. I mean, you know, you don't need to curse in Star Trek, and kids, and all of a sudden this kind of stuff, or you know, other language comes up, you know, you are losing a possibility. And that doesn't mean I'm against cursing, because after all, I live with Elaine and she curses like a sailor. But in certain scripts, I will, you know, use a lot of profanity if that's what and the target audience allows. But I think with Space Command, my whole thing is to have like the entire family enjoy it, and that's my whole thing. I'm not. I mean, in a way, by doing the prequel and doing the comic book and the audio play and the novel and all that stuff, I kind of, you know, I'm sort of reaching out to a variety of audiences in that way. But yeah, so that's the answer to that. So, Galinda, you're up. Go for it.
Hello. I am Galinda, humble tech support for video games and aspiring to be a filmmaker at the moment. My main project is on hold because of my move, but it seems the chaos of the move has kind of inspired me for another idea. So I'm working on a little short film.
Oh, wow.
You know, putting together. The trick is I have to learn how to fly a drone, because the drone camera is going to be necessary for what I want to do. And that's a pretty big one on me. I'm not technologically impaired, but with the gadgets and the toys, I tend to adapt slower. I'm a PC gamer because I don't like using controllers anymore. I want, you know, this, and so it's like it's really weird for me to adapt to a new set of buttons nowadays. I really appreciate the memorial video. It's very sweet for you to invite us into your life like that.
Thanks.
And you know, my condolences. I know that's got to be a very frustrating moment.
Well,
you know, to be on the verge of going, okay, we can do this, and then have it just not happen.
I'm really alarmed at the medical establishment. I think that they cover their ass, but to have a medical procedure available that would have saved his life and have it not be performed because they don't have their act together, I think is appalling. And you know, I mean, my brother Sean got to have a family, got to have love in his life. He got to have you know, belonging, and you know, and his heart was full of love. And so, you know, he made it to 43, and in most previous centuries, 43 would have been a good long life. Most people didn't live much past that, but in our society, there's really no excuse for something that is curable not to be. So
I have questioned our entire system because it's based more on recidivism
Mm.
than it is on rehabilitation. You know, I mean, 90% of the medications that are put out today are maintenance drugs.
Yes.
I haven't seen a cure in 10, 15 years for anything.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, and that's a terrifying concept.
And
But,
yeah, and it's a larger. Yeah.
We should do that on Mr. Politics sometime.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, you know, I mean, but yeah, well, that is another subject. So, so anything else you need, or any other thing you wanted to add?
I don't have any need. I was thinking on the discussion earlier about in the 60s when it became a big deal to experiment, and a lot of TV people did that.
Yes.
I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's the only One Step Beyond episode that actually had any truth to it.
Yeah.
When John Newland went and did the mushrooms.
When they take magic mushrooms, yeah, that's a corker. That's an amazing episode. I saw it in syndication years and years and years ago, and it's like they broke format to go down to Mexico and take magic mushrooms to see if it would increase their psychic powers, which of course it did not. But it's an amazing episode and well worth searching out. Absolutely.
And it's like, no, wait, from the 90s, I know that's peyote, not mushrooms, but that's not for fun. Y'all be careful. No.
Yeah.
But it's like I went back and I was trying to find out different stories to see if maybe I could find any of those episodes that had any truth to them. And from everything I could turn up, that's the only story, the only episode they did that had any basis in truth.
Yes, it's accurate. Yes, because Charles Beaumont, who wrote for Twilight Zone, also wrote for One Step Beyond. And one of his friends asked him, "Is this stuff based on true stories?" And he said, "No, we just make it up." You know, so.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's a lot of fun. It's inspiring. And,
yes.
And you know, it's the method that method of storytelling, you know, is well validated throughout the series. And I always enjoy them. But it's really funny. The only one that was true.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Yeah, that's great.
And I did want to mention I have been watching Prodigy. And my without doing any kind of plot spoiling, I really feel like it's family.
Oh,
it's
good.
not just a kid's show. The characters are deep. The storyline, the underlying stories are good, and there's a lot of richness and background to it.
Great.
They really haven't shorted on that note.
Good.
But I'm not afraid to have a 4-year-old in the room watching it with me.
Yeah. But
I'm gonna I'll teach him the swear words. I do not need Star Trek to do it because I'm really good at that myself.
Yeah, but one thing I would caution is that if you do have a 4-year-old watching with you, make sure his mother knows where he is.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. If I borrow a child, I don't just steal them. I borrow them with permission. But
Yeah.
My new roommate has 2 little ones. So I little kids I get to introduce to Prodigy
great.
now.
That's great. That's so fun.
So I'm pretty thrilled.
That's excellent. Wow.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with the swearing either, but I do understand.
No. And yeah, exactly. I mean, again, you know, like we have a lot of friends who are from the Midwest. And a lot of people in the Midwest object to, you know, rough language, coarse language. And it's like, okay, I'm not, as long as it doesn't censor me in terms of the story I'm trying to tell or the point I'm trying to make, or the drama of the story, I'm fine to be careful with my language. Every now and then, I mean, it's funny because the curse words that are in Space Command, Elaine wrote, you know, it's like, you know, she wrote one scene with one character who had fairly rough language, but, and then in Grizzled Space Jockey, the story I wrote, the short story I wrote about my character in Space Command, that one, you know, I just wrote in a certain way, but you know, but that's you'd have to search that out. Yeah.
Space 1975 is going to be one of the books on my bookshelf in my short film.
Yeah, that's fun.
Jules Verne and stuff like that to put on there, but I made a specific point that I'm going to have at least one of yours up there.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it was a lot of fun writing that story, and I'm glad they approached me to contribute to that anthology because it gave me a place to put that. So thanks, Kalinda. Anything else?
No, that was it. I feel like I've been rather chatty tonight.
Okay, well,
I missed last week, and I felt real bad about it. My roommate was out of town, and one of the girl Yorkies decided she needed to go in the heat while I was here alone with them.
Okay.
Great.
I spent 4 days literally juggling Yorkies because I had to keep the boy away from her. But I couldn't just lock them all up in separate rooms and ignore them, you know. So I'm like back and forth. I lost 5 pounds. I'm sure of it.
Well, good to see you as always. So take care, and we'll see you 2 weeks from now. Yay! 3 cheers. Oh, Judith, yes. Elaine was saying we better jump over to you. So, Judith, why don't you take your turn, and then we'll do a Mr. Sci-Fi question.
Don't forget to unmute,
You
Judith.
have to unmute?
I'm unmuting.
There you go.
I'm unmuting.
Good.
guys. It's good to see you all again.
Yes.
Sorry I've been away for a couple of weeks, but I had to get away quickly. But there's a lot that's been happening. My film that I was in, I was told today it's going to be up December 15th.
Great.
Voiceover work for them on Saturday.
Great.
Which is great because I just have to go next door. I'm walking much better, much better.
Cool.
Everything is much better. It's gonna take some time. What can I tell you? You know, I'm starting to work on something new because I'm sick of all the other stuff, which is really fun and has to do with voodoo. I was writing a demo and everybody that read it said, "Oh, you should make this into a series." So that's what I'm doing. Slowly but surely. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
David, where's David? David, I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm looking forward. I have a lot of doggies in my life coming in.
Yes.
Because yours and Saturday they have 2 puggles.
Oh
they
my
have
God.
2 pugs.
Wow.
They have 2 pugs. One is very cute.
Yeah.
So things are starting to improve. It's been a rough year, as we all know, but I want to thank everybody for their support, particularly you, Mark, and Elaine, and David.
Sure.
Thank you so much. I don't think I would have gotten through the last 8 months without you.
Yeah. Well, good to see you, Judith.
Yeah.
So
Thanks
be
for
well.
joining us.
Yeah, and we'll talk soon. Okay. 3 cheers, Judith Smiley, ladies and gentlemen.
Moving on.
Yes.
Enough of the bad stuff.
Yes.
Enough
Good.
of the bad stuff. Time
Yes.
for the good stuff.
Yes. Exactly. So
I know how to do that.
yes. So Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
And yes, our next question is another Mark Lungo question.
Hi, Mark.
What wants to know, will there be a new Mr. Sci-Fi episode on Thanksgiving night?
I don't know, but I'm posting several between now and then. I may well not be posting one on Thanksgiving, but God knows what I'll be doing. I never know what I'm going to be doing. So, but it is, I mean, we're definitely living in unusual times, and
No, a very Mr. Sci-Fi Thanksgiving.
No. But if one wants to hear me sing a Tom Lehrer Christmas Carol, you can go on Mr. Sci-Fi, and we actually did me singing a song. Because Coast to Coast had their various guests, their regulars, each record a Christmas song, and Tom Danheiser called me and said, "Can you record a Christmas song?" And I thought, well, Jesus, what could I record? And so we did the Tom Lehrer's song, which was really great fun. So
Hanukkah and Santa Monica one?
No. It's the one, Christmas time is here, by golly, disapproval would be folly. That one. Yeah. So it's a great song.
Alcohols with hugs of holly, fill
Yeah.
the cup and don't say what.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great song. So, okay, great. So let's see. I guess, Thane, you're up next. Go for it.
Good evening, Thane Allison, SAG-AFTRA character director.
Cool.
It's been a very busy week, though not much got done in the way of art activities.
Yes.
I did locate a copy of the documentary film I did in Borneo about 10 years ago in London, and it's available. Well, it was available on Amazon London or UK. Turns out you can't order something on Amazon UK. You can go there and look at it, put it in the box and whatever, but can't actually have it shipped to a friend in England to get it over here.
Well,
of course, it'll be in the wrong format when it gets there. But
the thing I was going to mention about that thing, you can order it and have it sent to someone in England, as long as they understand that you're not buying it to be sent to America. So then, if you have a friend who then gets it and mails it to you just as a private citizen, then that's fine. Additionally, they do sell very inexpensive DVD players that play what's called all region, which means that they can play PAL, and they're like $70 or something. So I've got one, but yeah, because we've had that same problem about certain things that I wanted to purchase in the UK, and that's how we got around that. But it's, it's a bit of a pain.
Yeah. So anyway, I do have a friend there. He just went ahead and ordered it.
Yeah.
The panic was there was only one copy left.
Huh.
And I'm actually acquiring it for a museum of the Peace Corps for their file, because it's one of the few films made about the Peace Corps. And today I had a 2-hour interview for the oral history of the Peace Corps project at the University of Kentucky. It was a structured interview with a woman who had been trained specifically to do this. She'd been a librarian at the National Archives and various places, and she was a Peace Corps volunteer in Eastern Europe. So we had some things in common. She went when she retired from her job at 63. I went at 23, so a little different perspective about things. And traveling on with my various acting projects, and writing projects. And I've been gathering up links to video of me on YouTube and video that either I had put up and forgotten, or other people had forgotten or put up and never got around to telling me they were there, or whatever. And it turns out just random searches, I identified about 30 different videos and films from along the way. So that was good. I did want to speak to Cherie's question about actors in the Bay Area for script readers or whatever. One of the other things I belong to is We Make Movies, and you can go to wemakemovies.com, .org, wemakemovies.org, all one word. And they were originally based here in LA. In the last year during COVID, a lot of people have scattered around the country, and there's now a We Make Movies chapter in San Francisco, which their events on the wemakemovies.org website calendar, and a variety of actors, writers, and film producers who are actively shops where they have their scripts read. Currently, they're like the rest of us doing it on Zoom, and so that could be a good connection for you. So you go to the website, you can join for free. You can get to the calendar, you can see, and then make your connection to the San Francisco group. And they also have equipment and insurance and production activities and so on at a very discounted rate. Very worthwhile being a member there. It's an art collective. A short film I did a couple of months ago, I showed at the meeting last week and got some really good feedback for some editing tips to make it the editor. And I thought, well, this is something we'll just put on the shelf and call it a good experiment. But they said, no, clean it up. Here's some ideas, how to fix some problems if we were on the circuit. And of course, I will be talking with David Bartlett when the time comes to which festivals to be submitting for. And meanwhile, just keep on plugging along here, looking for the next opportunity, working with my manager and making sure all my resumes and so on are up to date, and website is up to date, and I'm looking for acting class that I can get back into. It's been a while. I prefer live, but at this point, I think it probably will be online. So
Okay.
that's about it.
Great.
And, the lovely mountain in the background is Mount Kinabalu in the state of Sabah, Malaysia.
Yeah.
It's the tallest point in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
And I climbed it with a group of 14, 15-year-old kids back in the day.
Wow.
Woo.
Well, good. 3 cheers for you.
Yeah.
So great, Thane. So yay, 3 cheers. Excellent. And so Adam, is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes. This is a we'll say a twofer because it's the same question from 2 different people.
Wow.
A lot of people interested in your Mr. Sci-Fi action figure. Both Adam McCurdy and Dementiev are asking if that's available.
Not yet.
For purchase.
Not yet. The reason I haven't done it yet is because it costs some crazy thing like $30,000 to get it all set up, and we are working to finish the first 4 hours of Space Command and get those shipped, and so I'd rather put that money for now into actually making the show itself, and then once we've got a little bit of elbow room, we can do that stuff. Because I'd love, the Captain Kemmer figure and the Mark Zicree figure. Those are definitely toys that I would love to play with. And maybe I didn't say that quite right. It came out a little bit odd. But so what else is new? Okay, so that's about it. Thank you for the question. Let's see. So Michelle, yes, you're next. Go for it.
Hey, Michelle.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad to see Judith because I had a note here to say, how's Judith? Has anybody heard from her? So now we've heard from you. Okay. I enjoyed doing Cherie's reading. I had actually sent her back a note saying it was thrilling to get something that was literate and made sense. So, I've seen a lot of strange things that didn't. Shout out to James Ridgely, who was the first person to volunteer. In fact, just sort of a general shout out to everybody who responded to a request that I made for audition help online. Somebody wanted, and it was for a commercial, where they wanted somebody to do a self-tape of them both singing and dancing at the same time, singing a few lines from On the Road Again, which I only knew the first line of, which is On the Road Again. I am moderately proficient at this point in setting up my own video thing, but I'm damned if I could figure out how to do me singing and dancing and filming myself at the same time. So I put out a help on the list, and Ridgely came back first, but by the time I got home, there were like 5 people who had volunteered to help if I needed such help. So
that's great.
pay for the table. That is how it's supposed to work.
Yes.
I would pay back Ridgely if he needed something, and otherwise I'll be happy to pay it forward to somebody when they need something and I can help.
Great.
So yay for that. I am relieved in my entire lifestyle here at the moment because somebody has rented my room and bath that I had for rent. And he's turning out to be the ideal renter. He's mostly not here. He travels in his work. So I came in, set up camp, and said, I'm off to Palo Alto, and was gone for 4 or 5 days. And then he was gone for a couple of days elsewhere. So that's fine. It's the ideal renter. And when he's here, he's mostly in his room behind a closed door. So perfect. Other than that, I am waiting for results of an audition that I did. I thought it was going to be just an interview, but it turned out to be one of those please read some copy for us things, in the hopes that I will get a representation. I had fired an agent right at the beginning of COVID, which turned out to be a really bad time to fire your agent if he wasn't doing anything because nobody's paying anybody. So we'll see what happens with this. Hopefully, I'll have something good to report by next week.
Great. Well, 3 cheers.
They have promised to say yay or nay, which is fine because I really hate doing stuff. I think all actors hate doing stuff and not knowing whether they're, in or we're still deciding or, oh my God, she was terrible. I would like to hear something specific. So hopefully I will know something by next time. Cross your fingers for me, guys.
Great.
I'm done.
Yay. 3 cheers. Good work. Yay. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes, and I always just assume no news is bad news. But, that's
There's that too. Yes. Great.
So we have another Scott Baker question.
Excellent.
Is art really art if it's not intended for an audience, but only the creator's personal amusement?
Yes. It's an interesting question. There's an incredible photographer. What was her name? She was a nanny, Vivian Meyer. She actually had hoped to get her work exhibited, but it never was exhibited. But she's one of the greatest photographers in her lifetime. But her work was discovered after her death, and she's one of the greatest photographers I've ever seen. So I think that it's art if someone defines it for themselves as art. That doesn't mean that it will succeed, and it doesn't mean that it's even good. But by my lights, if someone's trying to get some creative expression onto a canvas or onto a page or whatever, it qualifies. It doesn't, I it's important, but the first step is the creation. So there you go. So now it's Elaine. Wonderful. Elaine. Nope.
Yes, of course.
Okay, I forgot to mention a table member who stops in occasionally, Jeffrey Markle, a good friend and terrific actor. Doesn't like to brag about himself anyway, so I'll do some bragging. If you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, he's on this week's episode, taped it early in the year, or shot it early in the year. Plays a rabbi, not Jewish, so there you go. Find HBO somewhere because I don't get it. But anyway, so if you watch this week's episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, Jeff, table member, plays the rabbi.
Wow, great. Okay, yay. Thank you, Dave. So now it's Elaine. Wonderful, Elaine. Go for it, Elaine. Yay.
Okay, well, things are moving along. I'm delighted that the thing about polishing our climax is it's very interesting because the more you
mean Space Command.
Space Command.
Yeah, you want to be specific there.
Because the more you give it a little distance, it's nice to go back and you find things. You keep finding things. And for this, when we reached the climax and we realized that we were looking at part 2. Part 1 was solid. We've been over that a million times. Part 2, we started to find necessary adjustments, but then we came to the climax and realized that much of it was in our head, not on the screen. And so that was kind of exciting to do a build on, but critical. Even though it may slow things down a bit and cost a bit, it's the emotional climax. And so working with David Bartlett, and now we'll be working also with Dave, I think it's going to really bring everything together. So that was fun. That was exciting.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it's always worthwhile to give yourself a little space as an artist and then go back and look at things with fresh eyes.
Yes.
Because it's not only you see something wrong, but you see the easy fix, which prior you're going, what's the fix?
Yeah.
So there you go. So there's that. We have some movement that we've been talking to agents. We have some movement in that our wonderful head of development in London, another Michelle, is talking to the relatives of major stars and just trying to move projects along. So
yeah, things are going great.
So just a lot of things in motion, and so fingers crossed. Yes, that's it for me.
Yay! Cheers, Elaine. Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, we have. I think I can squeeze in one more.
Sure.
Another Scott Baker question.
Wow, he's on fire tonight.
Yeah, he is. So he says, it is often said that all fictional writing is autobiographical in some way. Is that true of Space Command? And if so, in what way?
Harlan Ellison was the one who said that all writing is autobiographical. He may have gotten that from someone else as well. It's true and it's not true because it's everything that you're exposed to. It's movies you've seen, TV shows, books you've read, things that have happened to you, things that you've heard about happening to people. I mean, it's finding a narrative meaning from all of the randomness of life, you know. So Elaine's talking to our dogs. You might want to go.
I think we have to go for a walk. I'm sorry.
Bye, Elaine.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Good luck.
everyone.
Eve, come on.
Eve,
Cut it
take
out.
easy.
Cut it out, Eve.
Take it
Go,
easy.
go on your walk. Jesus, the people I have to deal with, particularly the 4-footed ones. But in that regard, there's a lot of autobiographical stuff in Space Command. Certainly, a lot. And but there's also stuff. I mean, we're going to do an audio commentary on the pilot, Elaine and I, and we'll be talking about the various inspirations and influences and so on and so forth. So there you go. So now I guess it's me, wonderful me. So hi guys, you can see Elaine put on her jacket for you Mr. Sci-Fi fans, the fashion stylings of Elaine Zicree. We are working really hard right now. As David and Dave Edison alluded to and Elaine mentioned, we are finishing up the first 2 hours of the pilot. It is very exciting. A full orchestra in Europe has recorded David Raiklin's score. We are doing color correction. As I said, we have 1900 visual effects shots, on and on. And it's just, it was really fun the other day with David Bartlett when we sat down with our sound designer who had not seen the second hour previously, and he was just blown away by it. He thought it was amazing. And that's good. That's a good sign. Beyond that, we've shot the third hour and we've started shooting the fourth hour. We are building sets. We're doing all that stuff and ramping up to rock and roll. My friend Roxanne Dawson, who played B'Elanna Torres on Star Trek Discovery and is now directing Foundation, among other series. She's a director now. She, at my request, she recommended me to her manager. We had a great meeting with the manager yesterday via Zoom to represent Elaine and myself on everything we're doing. She's now reading through some of our material, and we'll see. I mean, we're also meeting next week with someone from CAA. Zero Gravity is considering us. My friend Kevin J. Anderson recommended us there. We'll see how it goes. And off of that, as I mentioned to you, Nick, here's what I did to get considered to lock down an agent and a manager now. What I did was I made a list of all the shows I really like. Then I had Angelique, who's working with us, study those shows and see who the showrunners were, and then using IMDb Pro, find out what agents represented them. Then we went through a list of showrunners and other major writers that I know who are friends of mine to see who reps them. And then we sent emails to all of my friends who are major showrunners and major writers to say, would you be open to recommending me to your reps? And a number of them, including J.J. Abrams and Guillermo del Toro, said yes. And so that doesn't mean anything is a sure thing, but it means that, I've got a good intro to these people. And talking to this manager yesterday was so great. Recognize that what we need is a closer, someone who closes the deal. And she's also been a fundraiser, and so she knows how to raise money. So this is, if she says yes, it's a very, very good thing. And we'll see what happens. Because our goal now is to sell Space Command and to sell the other 5 series of the Showrunners Network. And we shall see what happens. But we're cooking with gas here. Beyond that, Greenlighting Yourself, the new book's coming out in a few months. And I'm probably going to record the audiobook because I thought it might be fun to read it since it's very much from my point of view. I haven't read any of the audiobooks that have been made of my work previously. All my books have had audiobooks done because I love audiobooks, but this would be the first one that I read myself. So let me think if there's anything else going on. Doing Mr. Sci-Fi stuff. We put on hold the Twilight Zone commentary campaign until the spring, just because we need someone to run it, and we don't have that person in place. And so rather than not having it work and putting in a lot of time and effort, we decided to put a pin in it. And it's something we'll go back to, but not right now, because we have a lot on our plate. So that's sort of the main stuff. Continuing Mr. Sci-Fi, I'm about to do my Mr. Sci-Fi on Foundation, which will be very, very fun. And we onward we go. So that's the main stuff. So so I guess we've reached the end of our little evening's diversion, unless anyone has anything they need to add. But it's been quite fun as all. And I love to hear when people are helping each other, table members are helping each other. And again, remember the email component, which reaches thousands of people, because it takes a universe to make all this stuff work. And we have, I mean, it was fascinating. I was on a podcast today being interviewed, and I was also, talking with the manager yesterday, and I mentioned that Elaine and I founded the table 28 years ago, and that it's thousands of members around the world now. And being able to stand in my work and in my life for compassion. And I said to the agent something I say a lot to people lately, and it's in the Greenlighting Yourself book, which is compassion. We use compassion as a verb. Unless you put it into action, it's pointless. It's not enough just to feel compassion or feel empathy. You have to take action in a way that helps the world, helps make the world better. And so I'm very glad that we created the table, and it has thrived even through this pandemic. And I'm glad to stand for something worth standing for. So that's sort of my little bit of that. So again, we will be taking a break for Thanksgiving. So no Mr. Sci-Fi live cast nor table meeting on Thanksgiving, but we will be back in 2 weeks. So have a lovely holiday, everyone. Stay safe, stay warm, and stay with the people who care about you. And that's it for now. So talk soon, guys. Bye. Take care. Bye. And bye to my friends on Mr. Sci-Fi.